Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Spencer Israel here. 1 second. I didn't do this. Mitch did this. Mitch sent Joel and Dennis the wrong link this morning. Mitchell. So I'm going to try to get there. There's Dennis. As Dennis here, as I was saying, I did. Mitch sent in the wrong link. Dennis. It was Mitch's fault.
You guys see that? I tried to sabotage the show. You guys see the sabotage?
He's sabotaging the show for SPAC's attack now. I got to sabotage this PreMarket Prep.
I need my SPACs back up, man. Come on.
I'm not taking the fall for this. All right. Anyway, Joel's coming. He was in the wrong location. There he is. He's here now. Joel, that was Mitch's fault, not mine. Okay.
I'm fired already.
Oh, man. I thought I got fired. Darn it.
I couldn't figure it out either. I'm like, I got the dreaded blue screen.
Just so everyone's clear about what happened there. All right. Anyway, good morning.
Good thing Spencer's going out of town tomorrow.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everyone, to PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick, Mitch Hodge, if he's not fired by now. We got a lot to discuss. We're going to talk about rotation. Is it time to buy growth? Is the question. Dennis kind of said, yeah, maybe yesterday on the show, and we'll find out what he did or did not buy. We're going to talk about Ford. We're going to talk about Virgin Galactic. We're going to talk about earnings, Bitcoin, and we'll take questions from our chat. Christian Fromhertz is our first guest today, 8:35. He's from Tribeca Trade Group, and Peter Tuckman, the Einstein of Wall Street from Wall Street Global Trading Academy, will be on at 9. Before I throw it to Joel, if you hop into the description of this video towards the top, and I'll paste it in the chat, you will see a little piece of text with a link. It says win a free share of Tesla. I'm putting it in the chat. There it is in one chat. There it is in two chats. Enter that contest. I'll walk you through it a little bit later on. If you need to be walked through it, click on that link. You can win a free share of Tesla when Benzinga YouTube crosses over.
Well, you better hurry up and give us those shares because it's up $10 here and it's moving higher here. I guess you're getting the share no matter what. So
you're getting the share no matter what.
I guess you're getting the share no matter what. But if Benzinga's got to go buy this share, they better hedge themselves because they need to go out and get these shares of Tesla because now you're paying $10 more for these shares of Tesla. And I tell you, I like the double bottom in Tesla, and I like the double bottom in a lot of growth
You are
names.
Mr. Bull. Look at
Growth is back, baby. I am turning. I've been trying for the last 4 or 5 days, but it's starting to work. Growth names are starting to work here. Nice move. So, anyways, I've interrupted Joel. He does this S&P's numbers here.
Oh, I got a surprise for you too, Dennis. On the rundown here.
Switch
S&P's really down 5 3/4 points. Tried to rally off the open, dipped under 4,100, but buy the dippers were there, and so we're only down 5.5. I don't have a great level for you today, folks. Maybe by the end of the show I can contrive something. Crude, that's down 69 cents at 62.66. Gold hanging out down $9.30 at 1872.20. Silver back under 28. That's down 9 cents at 27.93. Bitcoin, we got a 40 handle in here, up $1,085 at 40,425. And Dennis, in honor of you, I'm adding Ethereum to my list. Ethereum.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What's it doing? I don't even know what it's doing today. I haven't even looked.
It's up $126.
Rah, rah, rah.
At 27,000. Or 27,000. You like it, 27,000. 2,747. The setups now on the currencies or cryptocurrencies is nice. I like it. You had the flush, and now you know what they have to do. You know what Bitcoin has to do. You know what Ethereum has to do to get back to those highs. So I like it. The flush, I didn't dip my toe in the water yet. I know you guys did yesterday, but man, oh man, I was so tempted at 45, 50, and 55. And we talked about it at the investment committee meeting, and she said, I really don't care. I don't know. She goes, but I just don't understand it. I don't understand its value. And,
are you talking about Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Bitcoin. I haven't gone into the Ethereum yet. We're still.
I'm pretty much done with Bitcoin. So I have a little piece of the Bitcoin that I originally bought. I sold all my extra Bitcoins, but I will tell you, I am not done with Ethereum. I increased Ethereum tenfold in my long-term portfolio.
Did you file
yesterday.
your 13F on it?
Ethereum is now, it was I was analyzing, it was 0.1% of my overall portfolio. It is now a full 1% of my overall portfolio. Wow. So I did buy a big chunk of Ethereum yesterday, brought up to 1. It's still small relative to my overall portfolio because I'm not a crypto, but I'm a believer in the Ethereum, and it's a nice pullback here. So it basically got back to the price where I originally bought it about a month ago, and then it doubled, and I sold half, and then it's come all the way back down to where I originally bought it, and I was like, okay, just slightly higher than I originally bought it. But I think I bought the ETF in Canada there, so I didn't buy the Ethereum directly. I bought the ETHX.B.
Oh, you see, this is the benefits of being in Canada. You guys have crypto ETFs already.
Yeah, because I can put it in my RSP, right?
Right.
So I can put it in my retirement account. So it's nice. Like I can't add a cryptocurrency into my retirement account. It's not eligible, but I can add, at least I don't think it is, but I can add the ETF, and the ETF is going to track it closely.
And that's
obviously
it's easier for you. You don't have to go make a new account somewhere.
Nothing.
You don't got to go through like.
Well, I can't get their Cardano though. I want to buy that Cardano. I need a Cardano ETF now.
Well, then you're going to have to go to a.
I know. I might have to actually go create a
Coinbase or not, or whatever. Any of the. Yeah. You know what the reaction was when I told the girlfriend that I bought Ethereum yesterday.
What was the reaction?
She said, "What's that?"
They don't know. My wife would have no idea what it was. Literally zero. Like, what is that?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the one thing is Bitcoin, remember, still does have the name. I mean, we still have the name for Bitcoin. It's just a matter of, I think there's more purpose and use to Ethereum. Like we're running the NFT, then Cardano, I guess, is going to have some use here too. But I feel like there is a purpose. There's a use, a clear use for it, as opposed to just this random store of value. I think you've got like a use here for Ethereum, and that's what attracts me. So I'm in. I was in a little piece, and I went and brought it up to a full 1%, which is like a normal stock. Typically, in my long-term portfolio, I don't go 10%. Some stocks have grown to 5, 6, 7%. I think the Qs are like 15% of my overall portfolio. But obviously, that's diversified in itself. But I typically buy my stocks in 0.5 to 1% increments in my long-term retirement account. I've had up to over 100 stocks. I don't have as many right now, but I've got probably still like 50 or 60 because I have a lot of cash. We've talked about that. But I'm trying to put that cash back to work. I put a bunch in Ethereum, and I bought, I think, 4 other stocks yesterday, too, many of the growth nature. This is in the longer-term account, just figuring that, they're getting to a point where there's some value maybe in here.
Oh, wait, just to clarify, you bought the ETHR? Is that the one?
ETHX.B, I think it is. There's 3 or 4 in Canada. There's 3 or 4 Ethereum ETFs. I don't know why I picked on that one. I think they're probably all going to track it closely. If they're real ETFs, they're going to track it closely. I think it's ETX. There's an ETHX dot, like another one, .U, and that's in US dollars, but I'm Canadian, so I bought the Canadian one that's in Canadian dollars.
Makes sense.
So ETHX.B. I bought it multiple times yesterday, and actually really went up, and then it pulled back. I bought it 1070. It closed at 1170, but I bought it 1070. I bought it more at 11. I bought more, I think, at 11 and a quarter, maybe. I bought it like a few times yesterday, and I bought it in my kids' RSP too yesterday as well.
Whoa!
Yeah, I figured what the heck, they can take the risk, and it ended up about an hour and a half later going up to 13, and I'm like, I'm up like from like $11 probably average purchase up to 13. I mean, I'm up like 15, 17% here in 2 hours. Like, should I just sell it and then try to rebuy it? But I didn't. I didn't sell any. So
good job. Good job.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a good job or not. It could pull back. I should have sold it and rebought. I could have rebought 1170 at the close.
Putting the Ethereum aside for a moment, what else did you buy yesterday?
I bought AMD before, and that's just luck, BS luck, because I bought it in the morning. I was like, you know what? I kind of felt like some of these growth names, the chips I was kind of, looking at, and I felt like the AMD was just going to hold. It was right at that major support level. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a shot. And I actually was going to stop myself out if it made new lows. 72.50 is where I was looking. It did not make a new low. 72.76. So this is like a trade / could become an investment. So I was putting a risk parameter on it because I know there's a lot of air below that. But I was like, you know what? It might hold. And then they announced the buyback in the afternoon, and the thing rips. So I'm up $3 in it because of the buyback. But that's just BS luck.
Right.
just luck to buy it right before the buyback gets announced. But
Ray Gonzalez said, "Thanks, Dennis. He sold his AMD. Thanks."
Oh, okay. I bought Penn Gaming. I talked about buying Penn Gaming for a while. It pulled back. I think 77.5. So it hasn't run much. I bought Fastly. I talked about Fastly buying it on the show. I talked about it on the show. I was like, I got a level here, man. I can lean on this 39.47. And if growth starts to get hot again, this could get hot. So I think, it's oversold. Is it cheap? Probably not. But I wanted to get some more exposure to some growth names. And then I threw one reopening play in there. I think I bought Las Vegas Sands. I was looking at this 55 jewel in Las Vegas Sands saying, hey, it's not making a new low here either. I think, we've got a good reopening trade here potentially still to come. So I took a flyer on that too. So that was all in my long-term account. Obviously, I made like hundreds of trades in the day trading account. I'm in and out scalping and doing all sorts of things. But in the longer-term account, that's what I threw in. Those are all. I haven't really figured out what I want to do with a lot of these. Like Ethereum, I want to hold, but the Las Vegas Sands kind of reopening story. I was hoping maybe you're going to get a pop here, maybe back to the 60. The AMD, they're all key support levels. If they broke the support levels, I was probably going to turn around and sell them.
Yeah, we talked about the AMD on the afternoon show, and you need this over 77, and I think that you're going to get I don't know what your target is on that, but you had a high at 77, bunch of lows in the same area, then you kissed that 76.97 yesterday. So I wonder if Ivan got to you yesterday.
He did a little bit.
He did.
He did a little bit. He gets to us. We had him on the show. He was very bullish. You look at here and you're trying to analyze, and we know I've been bearish with growth names for a while here, and saying maybe it's all burst, and it might still be the case. So I'm not married to any of these longer term positions. If they start to break down, you can always cut losers in your long term portfolio as well. But I'm just taking a shot here. I'm saying I've seen good price action in ARK the last 4 or 5 days. What does that mean? Well, it means, we got hammered on a lot of stuff, but ARK has been holding up. It's been holding up fairly well. And there's a lot of people, somebody was just on CNBC saying the rotation of value is here. This is where you've got to go. And I'm like, well, that's where you need to go 2.5 months ago, buddy. That's where you need to go 2.5 months ago. We know Johnny come lately, people on CNBC are often late to the party. The money managers seem to be all late to the party. Believe it or not, I believe the stat is 4 out of 5 money managers, and fund managers do not beat the overall S&P. So, obviously Kathy Wood's done very well over the last 5 years, but not everybody is Kathy. So I just look at the rotation the last 3 or 4 days, and it looks to me like the growth names, a lot of them have at least paused, have stopped going down. So I'm taking a shot. I mean, I might turn around and if the growth starts to roll over, yep. I'll eat the losses, and I'll cut the losses. But I'm trying to take a shot here and saying I think it's sneaky. I think people aren't realizing it yet. That money has been siphoning back into some growth names. You could see it in some of the smaller names too. I mean, Space is having a great
What's
day
going
today.
on with Space?
They're the test flight's back.
Yeah,
test flight's back.
Test flights are back on the menu for Virgin Galactic. That's all people really want. It was like a schedule and a timeline and date, right? And that's what they said this morning. They confirmed their upcoming test flight of the VSS Unity, which is the one that I believe was this is what is this? The third test flight. I think the first 2 have been aborted. May 22nd. So in 2 days.
I guess I could cancel my order at 15 in that. I mean, did you see on the monthlies where that thing where it got to on the monthlies?
No.
Boy, oh boy. We were talking 15. Look at all those low. I mean, I'm just talking on the monthlies too.
Yeah, 1427. Yeah.
Look at all those freaking lows.
I never looked at the monthlies on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this is one of those names that's massively oversold. Is there value here? No, there's no value. It's not a value stock. But is it oversold, and is there a trade here? Man, there was yesterday. I mean, if you pot it and you're up 23%, I would probably ring the register. But this is oversold. Just like Target yesterday, you got to feel them out a little bit too. Everybody was, once people start spotting it, and this is what I think, helps me as a trader, is I'm always trying to think ahead. Jeremy Newsom, fantastic at doing this. Trying to think what everybody else is thinking and then staying one step ahead. I mean, to be successful, and I get this question all the time. I had a couple of people reach out to me, day trading, we hear, I'm obviously I was saying on the show a couple of days ago that I haven't had a losing month in my Bright trading account in 20 years. So I'm very consistent. That's through the financial crisis. A lot of people lose money in down markets. That was my best year ever, was in 2008. I do a lot better, believe it or not, when the market's going down than it's going up. But the reason I'm successful, 1 is the discipline, but 2 is I'm just trying to stay one step ahead. And so yesterday when we were looking at the target chart, where everybody's like, oh yeah, they're selling all stocks. I'm like, well, everybody's thinking that now. So what do? They turn around and rally it. What do we have? We had precedents with Take Two from the night before. It wasn't giving it back. So I'm like, okay, good earnings reports. And they're not giving it. Take Two had plenty of time to give it back. It was 7 or 8 hours of trading after the 4 o'clock number when we were talking about it at 8 a.m. on the show. And I'm like, you know what? The Walmart gives it back. The Home Depot gives it back. People are going to think Target's going to give it back. I don't think it's going to do it this time.
That was a good
people
call.
Are thinking it.
Yep.
And what Target do? It turned around and kept running. And they were really good numbers. So I wasn't full on bearish, but I wasn't shorting that pop. So, and I said that. I was like, I'm not making a call on this one because this could be one of those that they pull the rug out from under the people that think. So you got to stay one step ahead. I mean, the people who are reaching out to me, there's 2 people who reached out to me, how do you day trade? How do you stay consistent? I'm always trying to think what the crowd is doing and trying to stay one step ahead of the crowd. And if it's an obvious trade, if the trade is so bloody obvious, it almost always is going to go in the opposite direction because everybody's looking at it. Like if it's the pattern on the chart is so perfect, it's almost always going to go in the opposite direction because it's too obvious. So sometimes the obvious money works too. I mean, it's Simple Simon. We've been in a Simple Simon market for a while, but that's like analyzing news and understanding those things. But if everybody's thinking the same way, sometimes you don't want to be going that direction.
I think
right now, everybody's thinking value. We got to buy value stock. So I'm trying to just stay outside the box a bit. Yeah.
You know what? I also like when you see when I try and point out on the show, like when you see like a stock take a big move off a low, like a spike in spikes down off earnings or something, and then you get that solid pop. It's just kind of thinking too, like, oh, the buyers, they might have missed this, and on the overshoot. So when I say back and fill, the shorts missed it, or like all the days that people could have gotten hit on, the bid on ride, right? Going down every day. You're building a position. They're hitting bids, but then it turns and it's a different market. So different people, different time frames, different ways to enter the market. Your shorter term traders, like some people, let's say in AMD, they picked it up on the cheap the last couple of days. They're 77. That's probably all they want. They picked it up at 73.5. They're risking $1. They want out at 77. So I think
that's usually me. I was risking 50 cents to $1, but I kind of have 80 on my brain. I took a double-sized position in that intentionally because one, I had a stop out, so I was like, I'm going to stop myself on the trade portion, but I kind of wanted to own this stock for a while. I've had some good runs in AMD, and we're significantly off the highs. I mean, maybe it's time. I still believe in Lisa Sue. That's who you went to school with her, Joel, remember?
All right, let's not go there again.
He's not paying attention to me.
Wait, can we
miss that one? I went totally
let's talk about Tesla for just a second here. And I wish I have this problem every day where I see like a cool tweet and then I can't find it again. So I'm sorry, but this is not for me. It's from someone on Twitter who made this comparison, and I can't find it now. So I've brought it up on the screen myself. The chart on the right is that famous bubble chart, right?
Oh, yeah.
The anatomy of a bubble.
I saw this too.
And on the left is Tesla. Mm-hmm. Tell me these charts don't look identical.
Yeah. I still, in short term, I think Tesla has a beautiful double bottom here, and I think there's a trading opportunity.
Yep.
I think it's a nice area to try long on Tesla. Yes, I hate Tesla still. Okay, so here, full disclosure, I think Tesla is eventually still going under $400. I'm not taking that off. But it is oversold right now and it is due for a bounce. I'm saying right now, short term, I'd be neutral to bullish. Actually, I'm going to say I'm bullish Tesla right now because it did not make a new low yesterday on the move. 546 the low. We held the March lows, which was critical, 539. We talked about that. And we got this sneaky rotation back into growth names here. So I kind of like the Tesla. Am I buying it up $10? Probably not. I buy dip. So if I was going to do Tesla, I would have bought it yesterday morning. Now I think the train has left the station. I think there's room to 600 on Tesla. I think there's room for a trade to 600. If I bought it yesterday, that would be my target. I'm not in Tesla. I can freely talk about it. I have no position. I still think the valuation is crazy. I still think eventually the stock is going to be much lower, contrary to what a lot of other people think. But in the short term here, I think you got to trade to 600.
And that exactly was on my mind yesterday. And
are you going to try to get out there? Are you gonna put a business proposal? Business proposal to the investment committee?
No, I'm telling you, it's just I've given up on trying to sell anything. I mean, it's
I'm not allowed to sell.
And every time I mention selling, she looks at the chart and she wants to buy more. But I just said, and I don't construe this as a bearish article. It has the moment of truth arrived, and it's the truth. It's there. It's 540. Is that 540 going to hold, right? And defined risk. But I said, I don't know if I shared the article with you. I just went back and looked at like a lot of the price action in there, and so much of it, $500. If you take the way it rallied off the split and the way it rallied off being added to the S&P, that's almost 500 points of the when it was at 900. I mean, and what fundamental value is that? So if you track that out, maybe you got fair value closer around 400. I know that's your number, but you just can't ignore a number like it's sticking out in front of you like that. 540. I mean, there it is. Get a bounce off here. It's coming out of here.
It's a huge level. It's not only
huge.
Tesla, though. There's a bazillion stocks that look the same. A lot of these stocks held their March lows. That's good news. Kathy did not. ARK did not. But a lot of stocks did. I mean, you're looking at Coinbase and stuff. That did not.
Oh.
But there's a lot of stocks that held their March lows. So you can take shots there. That's what trading is all about. It's risk reward. And when you've got those clear bottoms, those clear lows being held like a Tesla, holding the March low, it's a tradable level. And that's what we're all about. We're going to have Christian Fromhertz on 12 minutes. And he always identifies a lot of tradable levels as well. But I mean, there is tradable levels here for a lot of the tech names that held. A lot of them took it out, but a lot of them have held up fairly well. So I don't know. I kind of like the Tesla here.
All right. Want to do some stocks and the earnings?
Let's go from Tesla to Ford. All right. Let's talk about Ford here. They had the unveiling last night, the F-150 Lightning, the all-electric, futuristic. Not that futuristic, because it's going to be on sale next year. There's a video up on the screen from last night.
I might buy this truck.
Really? You're
just on a buying spree.
I'm just buying stuff. You got to get out of cash now. Cash yesterday was cool. Now it's not as cool.
$40,000 is the base price. $90,000 is the bells and whistles price.
It kind of just looks like a normal F-150.
It does look like normal F-150.
But it's electric. Obviously, battery ranges vary depending on what you pay. But the key thing is going on sale late next year. Middle of next year. So I got another year with my current F-150. I got a 2017 or 2018. I can't remember. So I may trade it in. For the fully electric one. We'll see. I got a year to decide that, though. So anyways, it's a nice looking truck. All the F-150s always look nice. I like F-150s.
How's the stock reacting?
It's up. We're up toward.
It's up.
I still own my original shares. I bought more shares. I sold those extra shares for you, Spencer, because you're supposed to sell on the event. So, Spencer, I did sell my extra shares of Ford on the event, the ones I had on for the trade. I sold them last night. And, it's obviously up a little bit more here. It was like 12, 18. It wasn't up much last night, but I didn't want to take it through the event. I was too scared. So I sold it like 7 o'clock last night, a couple hours before the event. But I still have my original Ford shares. I was like, I'm holding on to those. I'm in from 7. I'm still believing that this F-150 is going to be a driver long term. Is it going to pull back? Is value starting to fall out of favor a little bit? A little bit, but I'm still sticking with it. Got to stick with some stocks. So I'm sticking with Ford.
Got back all of its losses from that disappointing earnings report, bounced around. Man, it's just sticking out here. I mean, pre-market high is 1235. The high before earnings day, that was 1260. And then you snuck up there on Tuesday. You got to 1253. So, another high right here. Where's this high at? 1262. Wow. 1250, 1260. I mean, I think you got room up to there. Get above 1260, hold 1260, maybe take a look at 13. But that's what I'm looking at. That's a good resistance level for it. And man, the SPOOs are quiet here, Dennis. I don't know if the stocks are moving around here, but S&Ps are just staying in like a 2-3 point range, which is pretty unusual.
The rotation keeps us up and rotation's just kind of holding SPY. It's yesterday I was holding it up a little bit. We had rotation to growth helping out because some of the value names were getting hit. Now you're seeing it's a wishy-washy market. A little bit of value is down, a little bit of growth is up, but it's kind of just we had the boom, the hit yesterday, the pretty big hit. We bounced back, and now they've got the battle. The dippers coming in here and saying, yeah, I want to buy the dip. We saw yesterday they came in there, so I want to come in here. And then you got people saying, I'm going to sell into this rally because we had a nice rally here. So I don't know who wins in the SPY overall. I just feel like I need more growth in my portfolio. So I've been nibbling on growth on pullbacks, not on reps. We don't buy reps. We buy dips. That's how I do it.
Hey, just real quickly, has anybody heard of BYBT.com? It's a crypto information
I just put a
site.
ticker in, though. It didn't bring up.
No. It's not a stock. It's a site. A buddy of mine, a former money manager, just sent me something, and this is kind of interesting. You know what I was talking about, retail and traders and margin and stuff?
So much more. Kramer was tweeting about that this morning as well.
Yeah.
The amount of margin that there is out there.
It says many traders in crypto use borrowed money to boost their returns, which leaves them vulnerable to having their positions automatically sold if prices drop.
Yep.
In the last 24
this
hours,
is the same as stocks.
more than 775,000 traders had their accounts liquidated, equal to $8.6 billion worth of crypto.
Oh, all right. Well, people asking, well, why is crypto down? Maybe that's a reason. Forced selling.
Kramer was saying that too. It could be. I mean, it could be. It could also just be the fact that it's crowded. Everybody was believers, and this is the way these things go. They go up, 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 and then the bubble bursts, and then they get all ugly for a few days, and then eventually, the way Bitcoin has worked is eventually starts to resume the uptrend. Whether that happens or not, is still to be determined. But we're now over 50%, or at least at the lows, we were over 50% off the highs. It's a significant correction at this point in time. So it was a crash yesterday. I mean, they crashed. And that's why I decided with Ethereum, I talked about buying more for a while. I was like, well, I'm not going to get a better opportunity when this Ethereum falls 40% in a day. So I don't know. You could be wrong.
Did you see hers on Bitcoin?
Yeah, 500,000.
She's
But that was me too. I said that 0 or 500,000. Didn't I say that when I bought my original Bitcoin at 17,000? Like, I'm gonna hold this to 0 or 500,000. Then it doubled. I sold half. I suck.
I don't know.
I suck at holding. Somebody pointed that out to me on Twitter last night. It's like, I listen to you all the time, and I'm starting to get a thing that you might sell too early. I was like, I think he's right. I might sell too early.
Yeah, very well, Mike. So what's not a growth stock? Cisco. And then morning. This is value tag earnings. And then they gave guidance. Earnings were fine. Earnings were good. Okay. The guidance was not. The EPS guidance came in below the estimate by a couple cents, but still below the estimate. 81 cents versus 83 cents is the EPS range they gave for the current quarter. 85 cents was the estimate. They're guiding for sales growth of 6 to 8% year over year. And it is down, $4 this morning?
$2.83. Man, this thing always runs in the reports, gives it back. You got a big buyer out there, 49. That's all I'll say. I don't know if they're going to pay 49.60 or 49.70, but big buyer down there at 49. So the longer it takes you to get down to 49 and take out that 49, keep going lower, I think this thing maybe drifts higher. You could probably get in. Bottom of yesterday's range is way up at 52. I don't think you're going to see that today. Been holding this for a long time, not doing with it.
You're in Cisco? I didn't know you were in Cisco.
Yeah, 29 I looked. I must have been in this for a long time to be in.
You're in a 49?
29.
29? Did it ever? When did it trade 29?
I looked.
I guess 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
You've been in this like 4 or 5 years. Did you even know you owned this?
Too?
Did you even know you owned this?
I
haven't talked about it. We've been talking the show for 5 years. I didn't know you owned Cisco.
I know, because I did it. It was.
I forgot you even owned this. So this was in
like you got like 3 accounts. I got a lot. I got too many accounts. I got to consolidate.
Start figuring out.
And I try not to look at them.
Know you own them.
Well, I'll do what you do if I look at them.
I know. I try not to look at them, but I'd sell.
Yeah.
Them. Yeah. I had Cisco too. I actually was in Cisco for a long time. I think my average cost basis on Cisco was like $20, $22, and I actually lost money on this. If you go back to like 2010 or 11, I finally decided that Cisco was just a dog. I took the tax loss on it. I think I probably sold near the bottom. So I don't know if it's 2011. It might have been 2011, but I think I bought it like 22 or 23 and sold it like 17 in my long-term account because I finally just was like, you know what? This is just the dog of dogs. It's never coming back, because obviously it was $85 during March of 2000. And I just got fed up with it. And that was a mistake. And it's been straight up ever since. So like my Heinz sale, right? I sold it the week before Warren Buffett bought it out back in the day.
HNZ.
So, yeah. Again, sold too early. It's the theme.
We just had jobless claims for the week. If you're interested, 444,000 jobless claims filed last week. That was a bit below the estimate of 450, and last week's number was also revised downward slightly. Continuing claims still high, 3.75 million continuing claims for last week. And Philly Fed Manufacturing Index lower than estimate, 31.5 versus 43. We have Chris from Fromhertz on in a couple of minutes. Let's do one or two more stocks if we can. Where should we go? I'm trying to find the movers. Is L Brands moving? We had Petco, we had Kohl's,
what's Kohl's doing? I haven't
Oh.
even looked at Kohl's today.
It's got to be up.
Oh, it's down.
The numbers blew it away.
Down.
I'm glad I didn't. I thought I would have taken this into the report because I was like, these numbers are going to blow it away because Macy's blew it away. And then maybe, because they hit Macy's, maybe they won't hit Kohl's. But then I forgot about it. So I'm glad I forgot about it. There was actually somebody bidding it up last night. So I'm glad I didn't take it through the report for some reason.
Well, the numbers blew it away. And let me just give you the guidance because the guidance.
What? Is the guidance no good?
No, it's amazing, right? I mean, they raised their EPS
What are you doing?
They're done with value, Joel.
They raised their EPS guidance by $1.50 from like mid $2 range to like high $3, low $4 range.
They made $1.05 and the estimates were like 4 cents.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe that's not right. That was comparable to the previous quarter, but
right. It's right. It could be. It could be right. Like
holy 50.
Wow.
There's a nice level here, $55. But I don't know, man. When the earnings are this good and they're hitting it, it's like everybody is preaching value here right now. So late to the party, value
Dennis,
guy.
what do you see at 55?
I see 55.50. I see the April 20th, and I also see 55.41 May 13th. So I see two from the last 2 months.
Okay.
Just eyeballing Harlan Pine.
Yeah. No, I was looking because we dipped to that 54. I was trying to find something at 54.
Oh, because we dipped below it. Yeah. I haven't even looked at the pre-market chart.
Yeah.
I just looked at your screen now.
$3 bounce off that though, Dennis. $3 bounce.
55.
Yeah.
I kind of want to buy 55. Isn't that a song?
No, I can't drive 55.
I know.
I thought it was
Sammy Hagar.
I thought it was all 55.
Who was it?
All 55? No? Tom Waits, the Eagles? All right, never mind.
I should know that. That's not a popular Eagles song.
Colt
I know Hotel California.
Moving right along. Let's bring on ARKK.
Let's bring on Christian Fromhertz before we really go off the edge.
Before we really go off the rails here, Christian Fromhertz, founder and CEO of Tribeca Trade Group. Christian, good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Oh, can we get your mic up a little bit? You're a little bit quiet for us.
Or you're on a different mic, maybe.
He's using his, I think, built-in.
Yeah, is it not loud enough?
It's like distant. It's like you're talking to us through like the outside of the building or something.
Okay, if not, I can go to a headset.
All right. Well, welcome.
Might have to do the headset because you're actually it's very distant. And we love your commentary. We don't want a poor mic on Christian Fromhertz because Christian Fromhertz always has awesome information for us. Here he comes. Right, well,
hold on. We got.
No, you're good. You're good
now.
now.
You're good now.
I'm good now.
Yep. You are awesome now.
Look at that. Technology.
One of the kindest men on Twitter to the pre-market prep show is Christian Fromhertz. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
We are big Christian Fromhertz fans, and I know Christian is always looking and spotting trends very early as well. But let's just talk this growth to value because we have been relentlessly selling growth and buying value names. I don't know if you've noticed the last couple of days, and maybe it's just a blip, and maybe it's going to continue, and obviously I get caught up in short-term trends. Maybe I'm too short-term at points in time. The last few days, growth's starting to show a little bit of life. Are you seeing it too?
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing it a little bit. Just a little bit, right? Yeah. I mean, and then of course, just kind of watching to see if that's going to take place or not. I liked what you said earlier, and I think that you really have to skate to where the puck is going to be. Value's been hot for the last couple months. I've been positioning mostly in those names over the last couple months, but a lot of those names in areas of the market, the materials, the industrials, the financials included, they're a bit extended. Mm-hmm. So I think either one of two things is going to have to happen with this market is it's either going to break down, which I don't really want to see, or B, growth is going to have to pick up here a little bit and kind of run with the ball. So that's what I'm watching, and I'm looking for for opportunities and for things that just are showing a little bit more strength, right? I always look for relative strength in the market rather than relative weakness. So you start to look for some areas that are starting to kind of move to the upside a little bit. And, we finally had this one upstart, moved and is starting to kind of break out a little bit. I don't want to jinx it because I'm still in the position, but.
Oh, UPST?
This is UPST, Upstart Holdings.
Wow.
And again, it's
Look
it's
at
really
that move
been,
the last few days.
yeah, it's really been pulling teeth, to get one of these growth names to break out. But
Yeah,
that's a one-off
beautiful
name,
one,
and then I'm starting to watch some of the areas, just as you guys were saying, that are looking a little bit more constructive the last couple of days.
What was that name that you were going to look at?
I'm just starting to look at some areas that are still a bit. I don't like when names go below the 50-day moving average, but
Yeah.
I like the I liked what was leading yesterday.
What was
yesterday
that?
was a little bit different, where sometimes we kind of come in the morning, and some areas of the market, whether it's it's been growth a couple of times, and it kind of sells off throughout the session. But yesterday was different. We started to see things like the semiconductors, solar names, and Chinese internet names actually rally a little bit.
And that's what I was saying. I'm starting to see, and I kind of just bucket them all into growth. But that's what I'm seeing too, is some of those names that have been out of favor, it feels like forever, starting to show some life. And on the recent last few days of SPY sell-off, it was those names that seem to be picking up the slack first. I mean, you look at Peloton, or you look at even Zoom, both of those stocks. Every time they're pulling back now, they're finding buyers. So, we still are maybe in this overall value-oriented market, but right now there's a little smaller trend happening where growth's starting to catch a little bit of life.
Yeah, a little bit. And yeah, I mean, I'm concentrating a little bit more on, not so much the, the plays that worked well last year, but like a Peloton or a Zoom. While I think it's constructive that they're holding in, I would rather look for names that are more, a little bit stronger than those two names, and a little bit less of the work from home type names.
You have the Upstart. What other names are you looking at?
So I think what's going to be interesting today is after the close, we get Applied Materials that reported.
Yeah.
What kind of got lost a little bit yesterday was Analog Devices reported yesterday, and look at the reaction in Analog Devices. So Applied Materials is a big name in the semis group, and of the last 10 quarters, they've gone up 7 of the last 10 quarters. So I'm looking for a positive move. Maybe I kind of put on a little bit of an earnings trade for today, maybe sell a put spread. It's still below the 50-day moving average, which is a little bit concerning, but you have to start somewhere. So yesterday was a good day. And there's also, I guess there's an announcement today about, the administration is still looking at increasing spending in the semi space to kind of get things kind of back to where they need to be for the auto industry and some of the other places. But yeah, I mean, I think this would be a great place to start for growth and a little bit of tech to kind of come off the lows and maybe begin to lead a little bit.
Because you got some value. This is value tech. So if you want to nibble your toes, you're getting a little bit of both with some of these names and some of these chip names. What about an Intel in here? I'm just curious on your thoughts, because we were rah-rah. The market was rah-rah Intel back in March and April, and then it got ugly. I know you like relative strength, and we're not seeing a heck of a lot of that. But if you go a little bit further, we're kind of at a 50% retracement of the overall move, which I like. 43, I'm taking the low of the move back from October up to 68. And I'm saying, well, 54, 55 is pretty much a 50% retracement in there. What do you think of Intel? It's not strong enough for you.
Yeah, it's a bit. I don't like to go after the names that are the weakest in the group. Although you got a level to trade against, which, hey, as long as you got something to trade against, which is the 200-day moving average, a little bit flat there. One name that I think is showing some relative strength, it got a nice upgrade this morning too, is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA's, you kind of just zoom out here a little bit in the chart. It's above the 200-day moving average. It's kind of moving along. So it's not, like most of these names, they're not extended here. So they just need a little bit of momentum to kind of come into them. This is a name that reports next week, and maybe they kind of run it up a little bit into the earnings report. So it's one of the names, top on my list in that group.
Christian, what about solar? What about TAN yesterday? You see, I know you saw that move.
Yeah, and again, it still has some technical damage to get through, but hey, it would be great if if one of these areas just like this that kind of starts to get going a little bit. I got long some sun run yesterday. Again, kind of buried, below, the 50-day moving average, but just for a trade, for a quick trade.
Yeah,
I bought some, and I think they announced they
Ford.
have a deal going with Ford this morning.
Yeah.
So that's up nicely. And then, believe it or not, like, I know this is a risky name, but this DQ is the symbol. I'm not going to be able to pronounce it right.
Dairy Queen.
The Dairy Queen.
That's the one.
Dairy Queen. They got great blizzards.
Right, exactly. But yeah, they're looking a bit more constructive. Again, they're just showing a little bit more relative strength. They're above some of those moving averages. I'm watching for a break above 80, but this is the China Solar name.
I mean, we're seeing some, what I was saying earlier on the show, I think you were listening, is that a lot of stocks have held their March lows. Here's another one that held its March lows. It did not make new lows on the move, and that's where I was looking. Obviously, a lot of these stocks are still relatively weak. They're probably still trading below their moving averages. I don't use any moving averages, so I wouldn't know that information. Maybe I should start using them, and I could identify a little bit better with Christian, but I mean, there's just a lot of these names that didn't make new lows. And here's another one, the DQ example. It did not make a new low. The Upstart, that didn't even come close to making a new low. It put the nice little double bottom at 80, and then it starts to take off. But what did you see in a chart like Upstart, like UPST, that, attracted you as opposed to some of these other names? Because, I mean, this was a great call. Stock's been straight up for 4 days. Was there a catalyst, or was there something else? I'm not following the story. What was your reason for taking on that one?
Yeah, well, I mean, it had a good earnings report. So,
okay.
It really...
Did you have it before the earnings, or you bought it after the earnings?
After the earnings report.
Okay.
So I was just kind of watching to see how it reacted. And, what we've seen from a lot of these earnings reports is, obviously it has not been great, and it has not been great in growth, but the value names, they dip a lot on earnings, and then buyers come back in. So you really kind of have to monitor these names. You don't want to go to sleep and say, okay, wow, the reaction, it got bid up that day and it sold off, but it kind of just hung in there, right? And for me, again, I'm watching the technicals very closely, and it managed to kind of hang in there, and build, and we started to see some volume kind of come into the name too. So, it's one of those things right now, and I think that's the game. Because my trading account, I'm heavy into cash, but I'm really trying to pay attention to what I see on the tape, what areas are showing a little bit relative strength and are doing something a little bit different in growth right now.
Sometimes the riskiest position is cash, and I'm sometimes uncomfortable. I've been sitting up, and I've been saying on the show for the last few weeks, I raised myself up to 40% cash, and I'm kind of nervous about it, because I'm like, I don't want to get left behind. And that's why I decided yesterday morning to start deploying some of that, because I felt like there were stocks that weren't making new lows. It looked like it was kind of a day where I felt like it was like a washout open, and they might actually start to turn them around. And it took a while. Like, it wasn't like
it kept
instant.
Going down. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't instant. I mean, you get caught up in the SPY, Joel. I was more caught up in some of the growth names where SPY actually did turn around and start to make new lows. The Qs kind of opened at the lows, and then they weren't making new lows. And that's what I was really looking at, because when I'm trading growth stocks, I'm not looking so much at the SPY. I'm looking at the Qs. And the Qs can even be a bad indicator too. I've been actually using, for some of the smaller growth names, I've just been using ARK, because the Qs, you can get caught up with the Apples, the Amazons, and the Netflix and the Googles that are so big, components in there, and the Microsofts, where ARK is a lot of the smaller names, the smaller growthy names. And when I'm buying kind of a smaller growthy name, I've actually been using ARKK as an indicator too. Do you do any of that, Christian, looking at other ETFs as indicators?
Yeah, I have been watching the ARK Innovation ETF just for an indicator. I'm not trading this name. It doesn't really fit my philosophy of, obviously we could see what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, but I'm not really a big, what I see them doing a lot of times is whatever name goes down, they're buying.
Yeah, I know. They just buy every dip.
So that doesn't really bode well with what I do. But like you said, it's a great proxy for growth. I mean, if this, depending on what this area of the market is doing, and you can kind of really use that because it's not as we were talking about with the semis, which are kind of a little bit of value in there too. You know what ARK is? It's super high growth. It's juiced. So, if this thing is doing well for the day, that growth, it's a growth day versus if this thing is really underperforming and getting smoked, it's just not one of those days for growth most likely.
Christian, I want to ask you, the way this market, like we were so concerned, was it last week about inflation?
Right.
And rates and everything. And then boom, I mean, just like forgot about it in just a second here. I think it's the way we look at it. I mean, rates, they can go up. They may eventually go up. But what do you just think of, like, all of a sudden the inflation worrying, spooking the market, and then a week later, it's like, what were you talking about? Who cares about inflation? There's inflation in stocks too. I look at the TLT. That doesn't look like it's doing anything. You have any opinion on rates?
Yeah, there's two things that I look at closely is, definitely what interest rates are doing. And I look at the 30-year bond futures and I look at TLT as well. I do view that as one of the risks, especially to the growth areas. So, it seems like as long as the bonds go sideways, we're not in a bad spot. But, so I've got alerts set up and so forth. One of the levels that I'm watching is this 155.31 in bonds, and I'll kind of look at that. There's a little bit different duration between the TLT and the ZB. But, these things are important, I think, to watch. If yields are going to go higher, it's going to be a headwind for growth stocks, especially if it's a fast move. If it's a slow, grinding type move where bonds go lower, rates go higher, then they might have a chance. But we just don't want to see a fast move. In regards to inflation, I really don't think anybody knows. So I think, the Fed has one view that, of course, the T word, that it's transitory. But really, who knows, right? We don't know if some of these things are temporary or not. So I really try to concentrate on just price and trend.
Okay.
Price is not going to. It's not going to hide. I'm going to see what's going to happen right in front of me with price and trend. And if these things start to, if equities start to break down, then I got to move my allocation to cash up. But I'm just kind of resolved to the fact that I'm not going to be able to predict inflation. Okay. But it's important. It's a very important issue. And but I think it's going to show up. I think it's going to show up in what's happening in bonds, maybe a little bit of in currencies as well. And that's going to trickle down to, the different areas in equities.
The way I look at it too is like the supply chains were down for so long, like with lumber and a lot of these commodities. And so you didn't have, the supply, for several months in different places. So, right, naturally, when the economy gets going back again, you're going to have these, the rise in commodities until the demand the supply catches up with the demand. So, I don't know. Yeah. I'm kind of,
and I agree with you, Joel. I think, the demand is to have demand is not a bad thing. Right? It's worse on the other side when you have too much supply and you don't have enough demand. So it's going to have to hopefully find a bit of an equilibrium, and hopefully, some of these things like lumber and the chips, of course, once these things come fully online, hopefully that, brings down prices. So I like your view a lot, Joel.
Christian Fromhertz runs the Tribeca Trade Group. The link to his Twitter, which I recommend, and the link to his group are in the description of this video. Christian, always a pleasure, sir. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks. Pleasure as well, guys. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, Christian.
All right. Let's do a couple more, and then we'll go to tickers from the chat. Children's Place is up big this morning on their earnings, and we had Petco, Woof, ticker WOF, both reporting today. The numbers were good. Both of them handily beat, and then Petco raised their guidance for the year. That's going to be a common theme, I think, raising their guidance for the year.
Wow.
We've already seen it. So Petco raised their EPS guidance and their sales guidance significantly. and a beat on earnings to go with both of those companies, PLCE and Wolf.
I haven't been a fan of the Wolf. I like the ticker symbol. That's about it. The chilled in place, nice move. You know, it was a nice setup because you had the big move up and then you pulled back right into the report, and now you get another, move continuation of the trend up over 101. The trouble is, now it's like, oh, can I chase it? I know the highs were 160 back in 2018, so you're still significantly off those, but it's hard to buy anything up $14 or 14%.
You want it, yeah. And this is 104. You hit that, you've been leaking. So what you got to do is you got to mount a bid early in the session, take out that 104, and keep on going. If not, you're in jeopardy of giving some back. I mean, the people that got caught the last 2 days are just getting bailed out here big time. Let's see if they use that to exit the position. And then we went from 160. I don't know, Dennis. I don't know if I can use the March low because we're not counting that 150 point move, 75 and 10, 85. So you're over that 50% retracement. The monthlies are telling you got room up to 117, but not. I don't know today. Another monthly high though, July of 19 was 102.55. So see if that even comes to play in today's session.
All right, let's do some ticker time. You have a ticker time? Got a question? I gotta get a video made for that. We'll get that done. Drop your tickers in the chat.
When you get back next week, and if you can get it done before you leave again for the next weekend.
Well, the next weekend is a 3-day weekend, so I'm not missing any time.
Okay.
All right.
What do you want to go to?
Salesforce. That one had a good day yesterday. That one, they had an upgrade, right? It was an upgrade from, I think, Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, I bought it on the open, or not on the open. I bought it yesterday in the pre-market, and again, I sell too soon. So whoever was saying that to me on Twitter last night, absolutely correct. Sold too soon. Everything was getting rocked. I was like, I'll take the quick money in this thing, and it just continued up all day. So you also get Bank America with commentary on it today, I believe. Do you have that?
I didn't see that. I just no.
Let me just go see. I did see it just fly by on my Twitter feed, I believe.
I don't think it was an upgrade.
No, yesterday it was. There's
right.
No upgrade. Bank America channel checks.
Okay.
This had commentary. So this might have been from. Was it Bank America that upgraded yesterday?
No, it was Morgan Stanley.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they reiterated the buy rating, and they're saying channel checks were good, I guess. So that's from a Bank America note. So CRM up a little bit more on that today as well. It's getting follow through. I'd be a buyer of pullbacks. I like the stock. I'd be a buyer of pullbacks on CRM. I don't buy stocks when they just run $8 though.
If you're this has been hanging out 210, 220 for a long time. Short-term target here. If you want to look at a gap fill, you just need to get to 223.07. You had a gap down day. It had a real bad day. I don't know if that was earnings or not, but that's short-term resistance here, 223.07. Gap fill.
Donkin Dave wants to buy Square on a poor man's covered call.
A poor man's covered call.
So I don't know. So he's going to buy it and then write a covered call? Like write a call?
I'm not quite sure what a poor man's covered call is, but let's look at Square nonetheless.
Or he means, okay. So anyways,
200.
You held the March lows. You held the March lows here, Joel. It's another stock. We held it awesomely. 191.
So many of these charts.
192. 192, 191, 190. You got a line in the sand here. So I would say 190 is your level of all levels for Square. If it takes out 190, Katie bar the door, we could be at 150. But as long as 190 is holding, you got a level to lean on there. So if you're long it, I'd say I hold it. Looking for 220, takes out 190, I get the hell out. That's what I would do.
Yeah, on the monthlies, 200, but I'm looking at the actual numbers. It's due for a bounce. And you got a tradable bottom there from the. It's $10 off. It got hit on the Bitcoin yesterday. If you're looking for short, I don't know if I'd, write a call too close, because if it can really get moving in the 200 handle, your 2-day high is 209.73. So
here's the problem with rating covered calls on a stock like Square is that you limit your upside and you get all the downside. And I know it's attractive because the premiums are higher on some of these growth names, but the risk you're taking on is significant. So I like rating covered calls to enhance the yield on dividend plays where they're more conservative plays. I don't like grading covered calls on growth names because if it turns, you get all the risk and none of the reward. So that's why I don't like. I would just, if I want to own the stock, I buy the stock.
This one has no ticker yet because they're going public today. But Joel, I feel like you would have an opinion or a take on Oatly, OTLY, which is the oat milk thing. I feel like you guys drink that at your house. No, oat milk.
You drink oat milk, Joel?
OTLY.
Yeah, it's IPOing today, so there's no
milk.
There's no symbol yet. No chart. Do you guys? I feel like,
almond milk. Almond milk.
That's what you guys drink.
Yeah, at least it's in almond milk.
Almond milk.
Yeah, not oats.
All right.
She likes cream. She likes cream weed.
This Oatly IPO, man, it's got celebrities all like as on the venture side, like Oprah's invested, Jay-Z is invested. I think Kevin Durant is invested. The Starbucks guy, Howard Kerr? What's his name? Howard Schultz.
Schultz, yeah.
He's invested. There's a lot of big people behind this one. So the IPOs today, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Hey, Forex is sneaking up near that level we talked about, folks.
1250. Let's look at the book.
Yeah.
The book's always good.
What's the book say?
Yeah, let's go look at the book.
I bet you it's thick. 1250 to 1260.
Let's go look. It's always thick. 1230. What's the volume like already? 2.5 mil.
Yeah.
You got 370,000 at 1250, and then you have another 180,000 at 1255, and then 120,000 at 1260. I could tell some institution every nickel. 1265, 137, 1270, 440,000, 1275, 190,000. They threw you off with 130,000, 1276, 1280, 260,000 shares. 1290 all the way up to 13 where it's just littered. So the book is littered above 1250. So that means it thickens up. It means it takes a lot of money to get it up over 1250. So if it goes crazy and they really like it, it can chew through it. But this 12 up to 1248 is, if I was a day trader, I'd be booking my profits at 1247, 1248. Right in here, I'd be selling if I had this on just for a trade. I already sold it. I had it on for a trade. I sold it too early. But 1250, it starts to thicken up. Like I said, if they really give it love on CNBC all day, it can chew through that. But it's going to take some stock to get through all those orders, all those offers.
Cisco Kid back over 50. I don't know if some buyers stepped up here or something positive.
By the dip, Joel. That's what they do. That's what they do. They see the dip and they buy.
S&Ps are sneaking higher too. We've taken out yesterday's high, and we're moved the Globex high from yesterday, 41.23. That's really close.
By the dip.
I know, Spencer, you got a guess coming here. I'm going to stick it. I know we missed a lot of symbols here, so I'm going to stick around for a few minutes. And the reason I had to leave earlier is I told my generator's getting tuned up today, and I said come after 9 o'clock because they have to shut down the whole system. And so the guy calls me at like 8:05. I'm on the way. So
how often do you use your generator?
Not that much recently. Not
the
that
reason
much.
I'm asking is I'm building the house and the generator is like $14,000, and I'm like, they really need a generator? I mean, you can get those, battery backup systems for your computers at Best Buy for like $300, where they can run it for a couple hours. I'm thinking, I don't know. Like, are we that desperate that if we lose hydro for a few hours that we're all gonna just, turn over and die?
Look,
anyways, I'm thinking about pulling the generator. I'm thinking about, I don't really need it.
You say that now.
You don't need it till you need it.
You don't need it till you need it, though.
Well, like I said, you can buy the ones for your computer. They're like $300. You can buy those little power. You know what I mean? Those little power at Best Buy.
It's not about the computer, man. It's about everything else.
Well, you can replace it. You know what? So you lose your freezer. Okay, I lose my freezer. I lose $300 worth of food. A $12,000 generator, a $13,000 generator buys me a lot of food. So
hey, it's nice though. Like when the power goes
one
down.
In the chat. The chat's going to decide it for me. One in the chat to buy the generator. 2 in the chat to not buy the $14,000 generator. Help me out, chat. I'm trying to make a decision on this. I need to decide on the new house. 1 for a generator. 2, I don't need a generator.
All right,
let's go.
This is what you do. You hedge yourself. You buy the generator, and you also like write some calls or something. I don't know. Like,
write some calls. I can call away my generator if they really need it. You're going to get called away when there's a storm when you absolutely need it.
I mean, on like Generac.
Well, it's mixed. Somebody put a 3, but there's a lot of ones. The people that work for GNRC are definitely putting 1s. So
I have to agree with the Crypto Morning Show, and I would say the Tesla Powerwall. That's what you should look at.
What is that? Tell me about the Tesla
Look it up. Look it
Powerwall.
up. So pretty much it takes
this. Mitch has all the ideas. I like this idea. Tesla Powerwall.
This is actually what I pointed out in Tesla's earnings, that their demand was so high that they couldn't keep up with the production. What it pretty much does is it takes power from the grid already and kind of creates a storage for you to use when your power goes out.
Check it out, Dennis.
Tesla Powerwall.
Check it out. All right.
I'll text my wife that right now.
All
Tesla Power. She'll love it. Tesla Powerwall.
I'm going to bring on Peter Tuckman, a.k.a. the Einstein of Wall Street. I'll see you guys later. Peter, good morning, sir.
What's up, guys? I'm so privileged to be in the green room watching this conversation. Tell Dennis he should get the generator and then start mining Bitcoin. He could hedge his bet against the
Didn't think about that.
We didn't even think about it. He could grow weed in the basement. I mean, he could do so many things to arbitrage to 14,000.
That's true. That's true. All right. The grow weed in the basement, which is not taboo anymore, and the Bitcoin mining. Okay.
Spencer, Benzinga Nation, how you doing?
Big brain. Peter, how's it going out there? What are you seeing out there this morning?
You know what? Look, we've got a new listing coming to today. There's a lot of activity. It's so nice to see the floor of the exchange. We're starting to reopen. Since we spoke this week, we're sort of opening the footprint a little bit. People are sort of hedging, coming in slowly, but we had a direct listing yesterday. Obviously, Squarespace did not end up the day that well, but we have a new IPO coming this morning. So the energy's back on the floor. I think it's sort of really important to know where we are in the market. You know, we do talk about technical analysis, and that obviously is a thing that is really coming to bear, especially yesterday. I mean, obviously, I spent some time with David Green, my partner in Wall Street Global Trading Academy. But in these days where we're seeing this outrageous retracement in so many different sectors, you know, I was talking about Bitcoin yesterday with David, and we were talking about how we know that people started buying it at 50, at 40, you know, down 10,000. You've got to take a shot at all these stocks that are up double digits, but are now falling down double digits. Where do you get involved? A lot of news on the tape today about, you know, less jobless claims than expected, yet there's 3.4 million ongoing claims, right? And then we've got a lot of the unemployment that is sort of being cut off in different states around the nation. So a lot of moving parts. The market's trying to figure this out right now. And I think that's what you know, markets do that sometimes. They go up, they consolidate, they retrace. There's a little bit of a flash crash here and there. But when it starts to churn, it's trying to figure out what direction it wants to go in. So I'm going to lay that out.
So we're in the churn phase right now. Dennis was doing some buying. He's been doing a lot of selling. He's turning around doing some buying yesterday. He bought some AMD. He bought some Fastly. He bought some Penn. And we've obviously seen all those names getting crushed for most of the year, most of 2021. As far as the growth versus value rotation, you know, we're what, 5 or 6 months into this rotation now. How do you see that shaking out? Because it does seem like there's probably some opportunities to get some good stocks on the cheap right now. Some good growth stocks.
Right. So let's look at this for a second.
Yeah.
And look, you know, we go to Macy's. We're in love with a jacket at Macy's, and it's $600. It's a little bit out of our financial range for a while, and then suddenly they have a sale. Do we run for the hills, or do we sort of stand there and try and figure out what to do? It's super important at this point in the marketplace, right, when things have been really overextended and are a bit frothy in valuations and all that, to put together a shopping list. If you're a long-term investor, that's what I would be doing now, is putting together a shopping list. But when these stocks are as frothy as they've been, it's super important. You know, David always talks about it, never averaging into a trade, or averaging into an investment, which is better than averaging into a trade, is something that should be done with patience and discipline. And technical analysis, once again, is such a great tool for that, because the bottom line is these stocks are 10, 20, 30%, some over 100% up since March of 2020. And now they're suddenly becoming affordable once again, but where do you buy them, right? When a stock is coming down 5, 10, 20, 30% in one day, right? You know, you can really get blown up, or you can always be chasing a bad entry point if you don't watch for the pivot points, watch for the technical analysis, and be patient to know when the stock is done going down and going to reverse and start going back up. I would rather be buying it on sort of a reversal than trying to catch a falling knife, right? We always talk about that, right? There's blood in the streets when you're catching a falling knife. When you're really being patient and disciplined and waiting for the lines to cross in a way where the probability is that it's I'd rather buy it on its way back up.
So can you give us like what are some ways that you would know that?
Well, but by moving averages, by any technical analysis trade, far from moving average trade. We saw it in Bitcoin yesterday. Bitcoin was at 65,000 a week or two ago. It got down to 33,000 yesterday, 32.6, right? But at what point we saw it happen with GameStop also, when GameStop got up to 483, there was actually on its way down. There was no real buy signal until 151 bucks, right? And you know that people who don't have the discipline and the patience to watch that are going to go, well, it was at 480. It's got to be a buy at 380, at 280, at 180. But that's not the fact. The bottom line is that there's a probability, if it gets to a pivot point, if it gets to a place where there's enough retracement and strength and a reversal signal, that it's going to stop going down and go up. There was an incredible reversal trade of about $10,000 in Bitcoin yesterday. So from a trading point of view, I'm always fearful that people are just sort of going, well, it was at 65,000. It's got to be a buy down 10 grand. It's got, I mean, you know, these movements that, you know, we've sort of been jaded at the incredible percentage gains and losses that we've seen over the last year, right? Sometimes when these stocks start coming in, they are just getting torn to shreds, right? And if you don't have the discipline, you may buy it, figure it's a sale down 10 or 20% when it's not really, you know, it's a better sale up there and not a purchase down another 10 or 20%. So patience, tolerance, and technical analysis.
And psychotropic trader in the chat, or Thunder in the chat, is making a good point. You know, there's a difference between the stock being cheap compared to its highs and being cheap compared to its fundamentals, and certainly a lot of stocks are cheap compared to their highs, but maybe still not cheap compared to their underlying balance sheets and the multiples and that sort of thing. So you gotta factor that in as well. We talk about that all the time. Peter, anything specific on your radar today as far as individual themes, factors, sectors, industries, anything you're watching? We saw bit of rotation yesterday. Semis had a great day. Solar had a great day. What are you watching today as far as themes are concerned?
You know what? I'm actually really just watching the S&P 500. I want to see what the market in general does. But what I think is sort of fascinating that we're seeing, which is a new trend, I think it's been going on for a number of months, is that people are sort of like, it's ADD. People have ADD, right? You know, in the old days, you know, you wouldn't see such a big sector reselling and repurchasing at the same. It feels like now that when people are busy in crypto space and they're getting torched and they're selling it, that's their focus, and other stocks tend to take a powder on that and get hurt, right? And so they're very single-minded in the sector. Look, the investment community is finally getting an opportunity to buy things at a reasonable valuation, and I appreciate what that person said. Is the stock cheap relative to its highs, or is it cheap relative to its valuation and where it's coming from? So I'd love to see. Look, we have a lot of numbers on the tape today. There are a lot of moving parts economically, right? The reopening story is starting to evolve. New York's coming back online a lot of ways. Where are people going to put their focus today? We have sort of a flattish opening, a slight green in NASDAQ, a slight red in the Dow. How are things going to float out? Yesterday was a fascinating day. What I find really exciting about these days is that the rallies and the sell-offs are so fast and furious that they take us to these technical levels where opportunities arise, right? And so this kind of generational moves in volatility are great opportunities. I can't really pinpoint the sector I'm going to watch. I want to see how the NASDAQ versus the Dow versus the S&P play out. It's curious to see if people are going to refocus on the crypto space, right? But the market per se, I think I'm not sure. I mean, my best answer is I don't know. I'm not sure we're done selling, but I think people who are long-term investing should have a shopping list waiting around and see where the opportunities lie.
Of the major indexes that you just talked about, the Dow, the S&P, the Qs, I mean the Russell, they're all kind of up this morning a little bit. Qs especially so. And you obviously you watch the relationships there, but is there one that you think sort of like I guess for right now, is there one that you're watching to lead the group? You said you're watching the S&Ps, but lately, for a while there, it seemed like the Dow was leading the charge, right? As we saw that rotation into value, and last year, obviously, the Qs led the charge. Is there one that you're watching right now as like your indicator for the rest?
Absolutely. So look, we've seen over the last couple of weeks is that weird dislocation when the Dow and the S&P do not follow the same. They are not trading in concert. Obviously, that was a function of NASDAQ and techs getting sort of battered around, which the Dow is not heavy in. So right. I kind of think I'm going to look at the Dow for right now. It feels like we've got a little bit of a bottom here in the NASDAQ, perhaps. And so I want to look for the industrials, which seem like a good investment at the moment, to sort of lead the charge now. And I think people are going to focus on that.
Peter Tuckman is the Einstein of Wall Street. He runs the Wall Street Global Trading Academy. There you can see the floor of the stock exchange behind him.
It's starting to pick up, guys.
Starting to pick up. Is like activity kind of getting back to normal?
Well, had the direct listing yesterday. There was the largest crowd we've had on a new listing.
Yeah.
For a while down here on the floor. It's basically everything's been done virtually. Today outside on the new deal that's I'll tell you what it's called Procore. We've got a full roadshow going on outside the exchange, which is what we're really famous for. We have the price discovery process, which you and I talked about in one of our first interviews, where basically this is where where a stock opens and how it opens on the New York Stock Exchange with price discovery, and the human entity is so important on how a stock trades going forward. That's starting to come back online, and I'm super excited about it. We are growing our footprint a little bit. Some people are starting to drift back into work. CNBC's back on the floor. Wilfred and a number of the other, and Bob Pisani are coming back. So people are drifting in. I'm sure you guys also notice that a lot of people don't feel like going back to work. They're a little bit apprehensive. We're trying to drag people back to work, as are a lot of the corporations that are finding they need to give people raises to get people back to work who have been on unemployment, who have been home in the pandemic. So I'm confident the world's going to reopen really soon here, at least in the States. I'm hoping people start coming back to work. Wall Street and the New York Stock Exchange for sure is opening its doors, and we'll be back online before you know it. You'll be visiting me, Spencer.
Yeah, Peter Tuckman, Einstein of Wall Street. Link to the Wall Street Global Trading Academy is in the description of this video, as well as the link to Peter's Twitter. Peter, always a pleasure, sir. Talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Benzinga Nation. Good luck, guys.
All right. Good luck to you as well, Peter. All right. I mentioned this at the top of the show, and I'm going to mention it again. We are running a contest here, a giveaway, if you will, a promotion. Benzinga on the doorstep of 100,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel. So here's the situation. I just pasted the link. I'll paste it somewhere else. I just pasted the link in chat. There it is. It's in both chats right now. I'm going to bring up the contest on my screen. There it is. Here's what you do, right? You click on the link I just pasted in chat. It's also in the description of the video. You click visit Benzinga on YouTube. That brings you to our YouTube page. Now, you hit subscribe. Bada bing, bada boom. You go back to the contest now, right? You enter your name, Spencer Israel. I'll enter an email that I'll enter premarket@benzinga.com. I will click save. Boom. I am not a robot. Boom. I just entered. There are more ways to enter as well. You can enter a YouTube code. What's the YouTube code? I'm glad you asked. It's in the description. Also, I'll just tell you, it's SLIMERAZ. 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 Bada bing, bada boom. Continue. I just entered again. You can share it with your friends. You get a bonus action or bonus entry for doing all this stuff. So that's how you do it. It's very simple. It takes 2 seconds. You enter. You could win what? a free share of Tesla when Benzinga crosses the 100,000 subscriber threshold. Also, we're doing some bonus stuff. If during the duration of this contest, the contest is set to run, I believe, supposed to run a week and a half from, yes, I think the end of next week. If during that span, Benzinga reaches 105,000 subscribers, we're also going to give away a Shinola watch. Facts. So that's how you do it. The link, again, in the description. It's in the chat. Subscribe. You could win a free share of Tesla. It really is that simple. It says 8 days. Look, it says right there, 8 days left. Thank you very much, whoever pointed that out in chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, Andre, 8 days left. There you go. All right. Let me see what else. I think that was it. Guys, if you haven't already, drop us a like. We appreciate all the likes we get on YouTube, and it's how we know that we're doing things well or not, right? That's how we measure our success. One of the ways we measure our success is via likes. Let's get to 500 likes today. Come on. We had Peter, we had Christian, we had some really great insights. We had Joel doing Joel things, Dennis doing Dennis things. Just give us a like. Thank you. We're up to 400 now. We appreciate all of those likes. Pro.benzinga.com, guys, if you want to access Benzinga's real-time news platform. If you want a free 2-week trial, go there. If you want more than that, you can enter the code that's on the bottom of the screen, YouTube20. It will get you a 20% off subscription or any Benzinga Pro subscription, YouTube20. And by the way, I should mention, we have way more products than just Benzinga Pro. If you go into the description of this video, we've got links to our newsletters, links to our events, links to our other resources, right? Investing courses. It's all in there in the description. Links to the podcast. It's all in there. Links to our social. It's all in the link. It's all in the description of this video. Links galore. Check them out if you can. All right, it is 9:20. We've got David Green coming up next, live trading at the open, and he'll go for about an hour or an hour and a half, kind of whenever he feels traded out for the day, I think. So this stream is going to redirect straight to David Green. You don't have to do anything. Maybe just click the play button. But other than that, we're good to go on that front. Any other questions, comments, concerns for me today? I'm going through chat. Who is the interview for tomorrow? Who's the guest for tomorrow? It's Friday tomorrow, so Marcus will be on the show, as will Jason Raznick, if he can join us, because those are our Friday guests. Reminder, I'm out next 2 days, so you're in good hands with Mitch in the producer's chair, and Joel and Dennis will, of course, be here. So I will see you guys later in the day for our various other shows. If I don't see you later in the day, then I will catch you on Tuesday. Everyone, have a good trading day. Good luck at the open. Good luck after the open, for the rest of the day. And we got David Green coming up live in 5 minutes. Smash that like. And I'll see you guys later. I'm going to play some music to play us out here. We got David Green after that.